Pope Francis has his two charts. Let's just go through northern, southern hemisphere. I'm just going to come back to the Vatican. Now, the Vatican is an interesting chart. The Vatican is a sun, moon, and Mercury and Gemini all conjunct in the 10th house. The Vatican is a Gemini chart. It's not how most people relate to the Vatican. But when the Vatican was made, when that state was made, it was made just before the war, 1939, and it was made to allow the state to spend its own money and not have to have any answering to any government, to not have taxes to the government, to not have any answering to the government. They could use their money freely for what they felt for their own ideas. It was set up to be Gemini. It may have come a little Rob Fordish, but it's still set up Gemini. We're free. We're doing our own thing with our money, whatever we want. We got no one to answer to. That's not that much more different than Muslims wanting a Muslim country to be their own country. It's like similar energy, having this elite place with no conditions. We don't have to pay for government. That was a cash cow that came in at the beginning of the war that put money into the Vatican and protected it from the rest of the war and from the rest of the places. So very convenient and quick, but it's a nice chart for business. You got that up there for ideas, promoting, putting it, and they have the Jupiter's conjunct the midheaven just in Taurus, in the 9th house. Everything's Mars, unfortunately, with Neptune is in the 12th house in Leo. See, they don't live up to the Mars stuff. They got all the pedophiles. They got all the problems that happen with Mars and not even supporting them. Okay, so this is a Vatican thing. But look, there's not much subjective. There's Saturn in the 4th house. Who wants to live in the Vatican? You know, it's a police state running its own accord in its own place with its own rules. So, okay, Gemini. Now, the Vatican, for a southern hemisphere chart, it would be a Sag. The southern hemisphere, the other half, would still be up in the 10th, it would be a Sag, all ruled by Jupiter. It would almost be more the teaching than you would think. But this is the main chart. This would be the southern hemisphere. If we're going to compare, if we took the northern hemisphere chart for Pope Francis and compared it to the Vatican chart, you would see how Francis affected the Vatican. If you take the southern hemisphere chart of Francis and you take the southern hemisphere chart of the Vatican, you see how the Vatican affects Francis. You know, but it's a double work. And being immutable signs, this is a spin around in it at the best of times. But this Gemini quality and Sag in the southern hemisphere, whereas Pope Francis is Sagittarius in the northern hemisphere, but Gemini in his own hemisphere, they're both Gemini charts doing their own thing. You ever had two Geminis driving a car with two steering wheels? Or watching a TV with two converters?
We're going to watch this.
It's going to go back and forth. So, you know, okay, so this is the puzzle. Let's just Vatican. So that puts Vatican and Pope. So let's take it here. This is June. Yeah. Okay. So this is the northern hemisphere charts. Okay. Vatican, Gemini, and Pope Francis has the Sagittarius, Sun, Jupiter in the 6th. Now, we're looking at how Pope Francis affects the Vatican, because it's his northern hemisphere chart. The energies in the northern hemisphere, how they go into the Vatican chart. So, his Sun in Sag goes right into the 4th house of the Vatican chart. He's going to move right in. Saturn's on his Sun. I'm not moving in there. He's instantly, we expect you've got to stay in here, you've got to stay in the bubble, you've got to do everything the popes always do. You can't go do this, you've got to live like this. Not keep him so busy he can't go out and affect anybody. So, there's the ideas going out, but he's down walking in on the foundation, where the system is going to be stronger. The Saturn's conjunct his Sun, where he's expected to live a certain way. I don't want to live like that. He's a Gemini. Well, he's a Gemini to himself, but the expectation with everyone, you got to play this role, you got to do this, we have to do it this way, they've already been correcting things he's saying and undoing things he's saying around it. But this Saturn on the Sun is, to me, was really a contrast. Like, And even though it's on his northern hemisphere, you put Saturn on a Gemini sun, what's a Gemini going to think? I better stay here and be responsible forever?
Certainly not.
You know, I know better than these people and they're telling me what to do?
I'm going to tell them what to do.
Yeah, and what's he going to run into? Jailers. We got the key to the city. So you got the Saturn on his sun. Now let's just go for his moon, the moon in Aquarius with Venus. That would go into the 6th house. His moon, moon and Venus will be in the 6th house. Well, they'll work him. They'll keep him busy. I got to do this. I got to do that. When will he ever have time to go out and put out his things? We'll get him in the Vatican. We'll get him staying here. What's the first thing he's doing? He's planning to go to the Vatican, but then he's realizing I'm going to be going back home and staying back. He's not so. His influence on the Vatican is hitting the roots, so he's capable of changing the very roots in spite of it. Like they got the breaks. He's walking into a system. The system's got its own independent way of doing things. We've done it freely this way. We've got away with this. Don't tell us what we have to do. Don't tell us we have to. You tell the Gemini, Sun, Moon, Mercury, say, you have to punish the pedophiles, you have to do this. Oh, let it be, who cares, let's go. We're making our money, we'll go with it. Mars in this, well, I don't have to do that's bad PR. People are going to, let's leave it alone. You know, so this 4th house, 6th house with the Sun and Moon really puts an emphasis of, it's not projecting out, it's not affecting what the Vatican's putting out. He's taking in personally everything that happens in the Vatican. He'll be taking it in. This is affecting me. Why is this? So if bad things come to him, he'll want to do something with it. So, his Cancer ascendant in the 11th house, conjunct Pluto. Who am I going to talk to for sympathy? Vatican, I'm so glad to be home. Well, it could be good if he was at more novitiated level. This is not the person who has to do the whips and change to prove his devotion. This is the head of the faith. This is the head of the faith doing this. So it's he's got his own way of how it should be, how it should do. It's not a fit. It's not a good fit. Even though, well, Sag, sure, he has his understanding. His understanding is not going to be appreciated. They're not going to want, even though they're changing things on their own way, they don't want someone else to change it. You know, just because I'm mayor doesn't mean I can't have my football teams. You know? And it's true. Well, Gemini thing. Geminis don't do well in politics. You know, but they're free thinkers. Okay, let me just go. Now these ones got reversed. This is it should be over there, but just as Francis is here as a Gemini. This is how the Vatican affects him. So, for him, the Vatican's a Sagittarian thing. It affects the Sagittarius part of his house, but it's still coming in to his 12th house, 11th and 12th house. The Vatican sun in Gemini, like he reversed the seasons, he put it in Sag, it comes in his 12th house. The sun's in 12th and the moon's in the 11th. So all the expectation, what can I do? How do I not fit in here? Where am I not going to? So you have this 12th house influence. Now, the Mars and Neptune in the 12th house of the Vatican, with all the sexual scandals or whatever, it's in his 1st house. It's coming right on his doorstep. If he doesn't make some stand around priesthood, sexuality, nuns, priests, marriages, things like this, it's all fall apart on this. But it's on his door. It's coming. They're bringing it onto his doorstep. They don't want him to deal with it. But he's got his image he's got to live with. If he's going to be him, and he's smart. He's an educated man. He's a smart man. So he's a thinker. He's more than a match for them, but they may not want his freedom of thinking. So how long do popes last anyways?
They may murder him.
But it's interesting. There's a funny paradox within this. So okay, I'm just going to go a little faster with this. But this, where his moon in Leo and Venus in Leo. Let's take the Vatican's. So the Vatican sun is in Sag, which is in his 12th house, and the moon, the Saturn ends up being Gemini, still on his sun in the 6th house. It's still holding him back. It still sits there reinforcing him in either case. So he's trying to roll away the stone. He's trying to make it happen. But he's a solo player out there.
It's a big stone.
In a system of people who are used to doing their own thing freely. And now they don't even have someone from Italy there. Or someone from Europe there. So it's a puzzle. This contrast is what I'm left with, and it's sort of alertness. Okay,